Hi, I'm Dutrochet Joko, also known as Djoko, and welcome back to Pharmacy Talks with D. Last time we spoke about tick bite. Yes, tick bite. And today we're going to continue our conversation with insects, and we'll be talking about mosquitoes. I know, like I said last time, with ticks, they're creepy. Nobody wants to talk about them. They are a nuisance. But that's actually the reason why we need to talk about them, because they can also spread a life-threatening disease. And to continue that conversation, we're fortunate again today to have with us Judith Ryan. And Judith is the Danvers public health nurse. Welcome to Pharmacy Talks with D, Judith.
Thank you, Dee. Nice to be here again.
Thank you. So we will be talking about mosquitoes today, and just to give it a little background on mosquito, are all mosquitoes the same? And what are the different type of mosquitoes? I'm sure there are different type of mosquitoes out there.
There are. Mosquitoes are not all the same. In answer to your first question, there is over 3,000 mosquitoes worldwide. It's upwards of 3,500 different species worldwide.
Okay.
Here in North America, it gets cut down to just over 100 different species.
Wow.
And then even further by state. So in the state of Massachusetts, there are approximately 51 different species of mosquitoes.
Okay.
Out of that 51 different types of mosquitoes, there are only, it's either 10 or 11 that actually spread disease.
Okay.
So it cuts it right down. And I actually brought a little show and tell here. These are the different types.
Labs.
Yeah. This is, the state has put out, Department of Public Health gave the public health nurses what they call a bite lab. And so that we can go around and educate people on ticks and mosquitoes. So this was part of the bite lab that they gave us. And these are the different types, the different species of mosquitoes that actually carry diseases for us that we need to be concerned with in Massachusetts. And they have, and I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but there is also a example of a male mosquito and a female mosquito.
Okay.
I'm not sure how.
Which I remember last time when we were talking about ticks, you said only female ticks can spread disease. Is that the same for mosquitoes?
Same for mosquitoes.
Okay.
Well, the females are the ones that bite.
Okay.
And therefore, they are the ones that will transfer disease from animal to person.
Humans. Okay. And on these 11 species, you said about 11 or so can spread a disease. What are some of the viruses or disease that these mosquitoes can spread?
The ones that we are concerned with here in Massachusetts are your West Nile virus, which you'll see it abbreviated WVN. No, WNV, sorry.
Yes.
West Nile. And then triple E, the 3 E's, and that is Eastern Equine Encephalitis.
Okay.
Those are the two that we see more frequently in Massachusetts. And actually, the West Nile virus is more prevalent. We just don't see a lot of real major illnesses with it. Okay. A lot of people get the West Nile and they might not even have any symptoms, so they might not realize that they have it.
Get it. Okay.
Yes.
And I did see in the news recently that there were cases of EEE in Massachusetts.
Correct. They've had their 4th confirmed case of triple E human.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Horses, just so that you know, horses can also get the triple E.
Oh, they can?
Yes. So.
And on the same news article, if I read it correctly, they were also saying that the EEE can be life-threatening. Yes,
it can be.
Okay.
The unfortunate thing with the 2 viruses, they are viruses, so there is no antibiotics that can be given for either of these diseases. The problem is further compounded that, when with the triple E, the incubation period, so the period from when you get bit
Yes.
to when you start showing signs and symptoms, can be anywhere from 4 to 10 days with the triple E.
Okay.
And, when the symptoms first start, they can tend to mimic a flu.
Flu-like symptoms.
Yes, like we
Yes.
were talking about the
The
ticks.
ticks, yes.
This one, though, with the triple E, the most prevalent, and there are two types of the triple E.
Okay.
One can be a systemic and one can be encephalitic.
Okay.
And one can turn into the other. The problem with this is an individual will get a sudden onset of a headache. And a lot of people, unfortunately, will not, you get a headache and you're not going to immediately
it's
go
just
and
a
get it.
headache,
Yes.
exactly.
So some people do that wait and see, and then they start having more symptoms, and then it just cascades from there. Some of the other symptoms that they can have with this triple E would be that sudden onset of a headache, a fever, chills. They can have vomiting. They can, and then as the disease progresses, it turns neurological, so they can end up having paralysis.
Oh, wow.
And it's a scary disease. It's a very scary disease. So when people start having these symptoms, they need to go and get checked. And as far as treatment goes for that, they treat symptoms basically.
Yes, because it's a virus.
It
obviously,
is,
so
yep. And antivirals are not going to help with these.
with this. And I mean, having 4 cases in the state in such a short period of time for a condition that will be fatal for 1 out of 3 people will get it, it's alarming. Now, in our little Danvers, should we be concerned, or does the state check to make sure that we are okay?
In answer to your question, should we be concerned?
Yes.
We should always be concerned.
Okay.
But I'll say the same thing that I said last week with the ticks. Don't panic.
Okay, that's good to know.
Stay calm. We should always be concerned. And when I say be concerned, what that means is pay attention and do what you need to do to protect yourself and to protect your family. And for that, and go from there.
Okay. Okay. Now, speaking of protecting your family, some of the things that we can do. Do mosquitoes have like? Can you elaborate a little bit on their biting habits, like so that, I mean, that would be the start of how we try to find ways to protect our
Correct.
families and protect ourselves, and in some case, our pets.
Right.
Do they have a biting habits that you want to share?
They do.
Okay.
Yes. And as far as the different, let me just backtrack a little bit with these species and the different types. Some mosquitoes will only bite amphibians. Some will only bite reptiles.
Okay.
Some will only bite birds. Some will only bite mammals. Some bite birds and mammals. So those are the ones that we need to be concerned with. Yes.
Okay.
What happens is a mosquito will go and bite a bird, and that's, they're feeding on that, and then they will go and bite a mammal.
Okay.
And that's how it's transferred, how that West Nile and the triple E are both transferred. It's through a mosquito bite. It's not person to person.
Okay.
So that's, and that's another thing that people need to understand. If I have it, I'm not going to pass it on to you.
Somebody else.
It's through the mosquito bite.
Okay.
And again, remember, there's 11 types in Massachusetts that will spread the different diseases. Yes. So as far as protection goes, we need to make sure that, you're talking about late in the year, mosquitoes will bite in the spring and they'll bite in the fall.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
It's not as prevalent. They start ramping up at this time of year. So in the summer, late summer, and very early fall.
Okay.
All right? So that's when you're going to see more of them around, and that's when they're going to be doing a lot more of the biting.
Okay.
What we really wait for is that first real hard frost.
Yes.
And that will eliminate
the mosquitoes.
Till next year.
Okay, that's right.
So we're good.
Unlike the ticks, I shouldn't be worrying about mosquito bite in the winter.
In the dead of winter.
That's right.
Yep.
Because I remember when we spoke of the ticks, it was like even in the winter we can still get some of it.
Correct.
But
Yes.
mosquitoes, when that snow is on the ground, we can feel pretty safe.
Yes. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
So the biggest thing is just to make sure that that when you're heading outside, and dusk to dawn is the most prevalent time that they're going to be out. So
It
keep
is.
that in mind as
Okay.
well. Yeah,
Okay.
they're going to bite you all day long. So
That's
don't
right.
don't say I got bit the other day in the morning, 10 o'clock. They still will bite, but the most prevalent time is dusk to dawn.
Okay. So that's a good thing to know. So if I'm outdoor dusk to dawn, what are some of the steps that I can take to make sure that I protect myself? Maybe I should start by saying, how do I protect my home
Okay.
against mosquitoes? And then we'll talk about how I protect myself and the family.
Okay. And I actually do want to backtrack for a minute regarding the home and Danvers itself,
Yes.
just so that you know, we do not automatically spray. Gone are those days. I don't know if you remember,
Sure,
shutting the windows
exactly.
and spraying was going to take at a
Spray
particular
or the
time.
chalk, yes.
Yeah. And right now, Danvers is a low-risk community.
Oh, good
And what
to
ends
know.
up happening, just to give you a little background on these mosquitoes, is there are these individuals who go out and collect mosquitoes
Yes.
for the state. And I actually had the opportunity, I was at the state lab 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And I was looking they were showing us a collection of mosquitoes. And you
Wait.
talk about gross and creepy and ugh.
Were they from Danvers?
No, they were not. they were not. And it was just a whole petri dish full of mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes. Oh.
And the process is somebody at the lab takes tweezers and goes through and picks out every single mosquito. And then they put it under a microscope to identify the mosquito to see if they are
One of
these
11.
that would be transmitting disease.
Okay.
And just a little side note here, I remember somebody talking to me years ago about mosquitoes and looking at them under a microscope and how some of them are beautiful. And I just looked at them, I said, yeah, okay. I had the opportunity of looking at some of these mosquitoes 2 weeks ago under
Yes.
a microscope, and I kid you not, some of them are beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely, it's hysterical to say, but I looked at one of them and I actually said it out loud. I said, "Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
man,
look at how
that's
beautiful that
beautiful."
one is!" So of course everybody came over. Anyway, so that's how they do it. And then what happens once they identify? And I actually asked what their threshold was,
Yes.
and I was told 30%. So once they find that 30% of the mosquitoes that they're testing come out positive,
Okay.
that's when they start the conversations with the community.
Yes.
So, and then others get involved, and then that's when they start to make decisions as to whether or not it was going, they would do some
Yeah,
widespread
high risk. Okay.
spraying. So that's just kind of a little background.
Perfect.
As far as you yourself goes, in your house, a couple of things you want to make sure is check your screens on your door and windows to
yes.
make sure that there are no holes,
Okay.
because they're going to come in. They like kind of warmer
Warmers,
spots.
yes.
Yep. They like moist spots. So make sure that if you can use air conditioning instead of opening the windows, especially if you've got holes in the screens.
Okay.
Not a good idea. All right. So
Okay.
get your screens fixed. One of the things that a lot of people do not know as far as their homes go, the mosquitoes lay their eggs in water.
Okay.
So go around your house, outside your house, and look for kids' buckets, watering cans, empty flower pots. I sit there and I think about what's on my porch right
I
now.
know. Kids, get ready, because once I get home, that's what we're doing. So if you're watching,
Just go empty those.
Judy just gave you some more work to do.
If you have a bird bath, you
Okay.
want to empty that often. So get rid of that stagnant water. Tires. Some people have old tires.
Yes.
Tire swings. I still see tire swings out in yards.
Right.
Make sure you dump the water out of that, because that's where the mosquitoes are going to lay their eggs.
Okay.
Okay. So you get rid of all stagnant water.
Around the home.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes.
So that's good. It's very basic ABC steps that can be
It
life
is.
saving.
It is.
We don't often think about it, but it's always important to remind people that to some of the things that we can do. But now, if you do all that, you get rid of them, but I'm sure mosquitoes will still be around.
They are still going to be
So
around. So
what
now you
if-
got to protect yourself.
You got to protect yourself. And I know we spoke, when we were talking about the ticks, we spoke of spraying yourself and or have the clothing with the permethrin. I think
Yes.
that's what you said.
Yes.
Permethrin 0.5%. Would that work with mosquitoes as well?
It does.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There are a lot of repellents out there that are EPA approved, and those
Okay.
are the ones that you want to look for.
Okay.
But when you're looking at the ingredients, you want to make sure it's got DEET. You want to make sure it's got picardin in it.
Okay.
There are the permethrin. There are other ones, and these are all very similar to the ones that we spoke about as far as the ticks go.
Okay.
Your oil of lemon eucalyptus. There's another one called IR 3535.
Oh, okay.
And I actually looked, and you can get that on any. You can get it on the website. You could order it online. You can get it in any kind of stores, your Target, your Walmart.
Your CVS.
Yeah, your CVS.
Exactly.
And you can also get it at your sporting goods stores. So
Okay.
they will have those. That along with the permethrin that we had spoke about. And I did a little bit of research on the oil of lemon eucalyptus. And it is as effective, and this is on the CDC website, so this
Okay.
is where I'm getting my information. It is as effective as a low concentration of DEET.
Okay.
So they said that it does work, and you just got to use it.
Perfect.
You have to use it for it to work.
Okay, perfect.
All of these repellents.
And now, we're always concerned when we use medications or things like that about expecting moms. Pregnant women or nursing mothers.
Yes.
Are they allowed to use these
They are.
mosquito
Yes, the
repellents?
EPA has said that they are safe. All of those that I listed are safe for expecting moms and anybody that is breastfeeding as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. How about children or kids? If you have an infant who is, 2 weeks old, and you want to take a walk, you've been home all this time.
You need to
and
get out.
We got a beautiful weather, and you want to get out. What can you spray those on a 2 weeks old baby or 2 months old?
No.
No,
No, you
okay.
don't want to do that. So the way to protect the baby, and the other thing, same thing for the adult, is long sleeves
Okay.
and long pants. Pants with socks. And for babies, you want to do the same thing with the long sleeves and the long pants. But go out and get a net, one of the mosquito nets for the strollers. They've got them that fit the jogging carriages. They have them for the regular carriages, and I've seen them for car seats as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the best way, because if you have a child that's under 2 months old, you're not going to use any of these bug
products.
repellents. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. And then the other restriction is for the oil lemon eucalyptus. You don't want to be using that on a child that's under 3 years old.
Okay.
So, and keep in mind, when you're using any of these repellents for the kids that, for 3 and up, when you're using it on them, you don't want to just spray it all
Spray it.
over them.
Okay.
You don't want it in their eyes, their mouth. The best thing to do is to spray it on your own hands and then put it on their face like that.
Oh,
Okay? And definitely don't put it on their hands. So if you're using a particular one that you can use for a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old,
Yes.
don't ever put it on their hand, because their hand's going to end up in their eyes and their mouth.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
So keep it off of their hands.
So it's okay to use, but spray it on your hands and.
Yes.
Oh, that's
But
good
and
to
you know
know.
what I also say is there are going to be some children that, and you know your child, if they have a lot of allergies and they have a lot of skin conditions, the best thing to do is, number one, look at the ingredients and the directions, but
Yes.
also run it by your pediatrician.
Okay.
And they can help. As well as a pharmacist.
Oh, yes.
Pharmacists can always help, right?
That's right, we can. And we do every day. So this is helpful information for everyone. Stop by the pharmacist and we can help you with that. Now, there's some people who don't want anything to do with chemicals. And I think I read somewhere that the mosquito repellents that are all natural and sometimes not EPA approved may not be as safe. Is that no, may not be as effective. They're safe, but they may not be as effective. Is that correct? We want to have these ingredients in there to maximize the effect of the repellent.
You do. You want to use anything that is EPA approved. Those are the best ones to use.
Okay.
You're always going to have individuals who don't want to use those and they want to use natural ones. I would hesitate in that because there's no proven effectiveness.
Okay.
So that's where the issue is.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, if you go on to the CDC website or even the EPA website,
Yes.
and you go into cdc.gov, and once you're in that website, if you type in bug repellents, there is a great link there that brings you to a site that actually helps you pick out what's good for you.
Really?
Yes. It will ask you questions about you, your age, your skin type, your activities, and you plug in all that information and it will come up and give you suggestions of EPA approved repellents.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. It's a cool website. I'm telling you, that CDC website's really neat. The things you can find on it.
I did not know about that. I did, and I'm sure that's also where people will go if they need more information about how to protect themselves.
Yes, yes. And I say it all the time when people ask me, where they can get more information. You need to go to an approved, respected website. So don't do, let me rephrase that. Go to the CDC website or a hospital website. This,
Yes.
I had said that last week. You go look at one of the hospital websites. You plug, let's say you wanted more information on Triple E.
Yes.
If you plug Triple E in there, you're going to see not only the CDC websites but the other, some of the hospitals. So those are good websites to go on to. Those are the ones where you're going to get your valid information.
That's perfect. Well, thank you very much. I hope this information is helpful for the people watching at home. Please, let's take these ABC basic steps to protect our home and to protect ourselves and our family against these mosquito-borne illnesses. And on that, I want to thank you, Judith, again for coming on guiding us and educating us onto this. I hope I get one of these mosquito labs for myself. They're pretty, they're all on pins, and it's amazing whoever did that.
You can come down and see me down at the in my office at the senior center, and I have all kinds of stuff, all kinds of fun stuff.
Definitely will do that. Thank you very much, and thanks again for watching, and I'm looking forward to continuing this education process with you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.